Hey guys, Beast Force here and welcome back to my Phineas and Ferb breakdown. As we start our season 4 with 6 episodes, including My Sweet Ride, which has been one of the fans' favourite of Phineas and Ferb, and I recommend you go look at it in my YouTube channel, which you can find it. The last time we did the breakdown of the same story connects to the two plots was in season 2 in Bubble Boys and Isabel and the Temple Sat, which connects and intertwines with the same story links which we already see. And we do see the same scenes from B-Day and B-Story intertwined with B-Story and B-Day together as they're used in different sequences for different point of view. Also, there is Fun Corrupt coming later this year, which will include Candice Finn Fletcher, Vanessa Doofenshmirtz, and Dr. Doofenshmirtz, while we already had Phineas and Ferb and Perry, which will be very nice to the most. I really hope we get one for Isabella, Buford, Bauchi, and the other characters too. If this is your first breakdown, you're curious to know how the rating system works, there's a detailed description down below, along with my other videos that also has the link with the detailed description down below in my playlist. Anton Gabor and Kaz wrote an episode called B-Day, premiered on April the 26th, 2013 on Disney Channel US. The boys make a giant inflatable wading pool for Mom. Meanwhile, Candice reveals her emo side and Doofenshmirtz attempts to become ruler of the all bees.
Warm, what's that drone? Hey, and I'm feeling fine.
As the song starts off with B Song, which is the song from B-Day, as the citizens of Danville singing about the B-Day opening ceremony as we see. And yes, B-Day actually exists. It's called National Honey Bee Day, an awareness day for the bee industry held on the third Saturday in August. So this timeline of this summer takes place in August. So around that time, they have been doing a lot in the summer. I really love how we get to see B-Day balloons, flowers, daffodils and all of that stuff all around it. Very neat. And we do see the Finn Fletchers and the Fireside Girl, including Isabel. And there's actually 2 Britneys, not 1 and 2. I thought she never appeared in the original one, but I guess I was wrong. She does actually appear a lot more in season 5.
B flat with an F sharp bass.
That become a running gag in this episode and B's story.
It's tradition, Jimmy.
It's not even in the key.
I like how the kid is questioning about the notes, which is hilarious.
Bewildering.
Just be quiet.
There's a lot of B puns in this episode, like beautiful, beautiful, or bountiful, whatever.
Behave.
I got another B pun. Be excited. Yeah? Yeah? Anybody? Okay.
An inflatable wading pool.
I've seen a lot of people have an inflatable wading pool, which is so cool.
I used to play in with Candace when she was little.
I know we're gonna do today after the wipe.
Phineas is breaking the fourth wall again. It really is full of meta jokes this season.
Hey, where's Perry?
First front face Phineas of the day, and that won't be the last.
Jet B.
I really love how Elsie powers her Agent B, as Perry the Platypus wasn't wearing a hat until now and clears her throat and said P. That's hilarious.
Allergies are acting up this whole B-Day pollen in Danville.
I searched what pollen means. It means a powdery substance produced by most types of flowers of sea pods of the purpose of sexual reproduction, which his major monogram is allergic to, as we found out in this episode.
Bee pheromones, which is not only disgusting but probably evil.
A bee-themed jetpack, which makes sense because it's B-Day.
Budgets.
You can see Stacy has a laptop, but you can see what's behind her is a treadmill, so Stacy can do running, but she can also do jiu-jitsu as we saw in Dinner Reservation in season 5. So Stacy has lot of feats there, but she can also exercise.
An emo teen.
That's what you're going to become in this episode once we get to there.
Leave. Everyone's against them. Sensitive and drama queens.
She is correct, as we've seen a lot of emo characters around animation media, including Sam, Raven, and a lot of stuff, which is my favorite characters. So Candice is going to become like one in this episode. They are creating a big waddle pool, as you get to see it inflates as it goes bigger. I really love how it's animated very well as it goes bigger and bigger, higher than that. Very, very nice detail right there.
What to do? Actually, I need your help.
Thing for you, Isabella,
Could there be a sign of things to come, or is he just oblivious?
is my humble command.
Look at that, front face Phineas again. You could tell Isabella's daydreaming again, just like Isabella and the Temple Sap.
All for you.
As it transitions to Phineas being romantic as Isabella's daydream, as you can see the rocks climb higher than that, which is a reference to Fabio's romantic novels as we see. I'll show it to you right there.
Lost in Phineas Land again.
She said Phineas Land again, just like in Isabella and the Temple Sap.
A beekeeping patch, and we need to borrow something.
Well, we do get to see it in B's story once I completed this episode.
Well, if you're gonna borrow Ferb.
It's not that funny.
Stand down, Parasite Girl.
I really like how Isabella's laughing as Ginger interrupts her and he tells her to stand up. That's quite funny. As you can hear the soundtrack playing, you can hear Sarkasakov, Flight of the Bumblebee, which is the soundtrack. And you can see Perry the Platypus has a jetpack of a bee as he has wings inside it. It looks neat.
So what's happening, Perry the Platypus? So what's going on?
Early in this episode, we have the Finn Fletchers making bee puns, and now Doofenshmirtz making Swats puns.
Habla.
You deserve that, Doofer. It really is Swatsation.
I got bees on the brain. You hear about the king bee, do you? A Rominator!
It looks like a giant cleaning spray. You could use it to clean your house or your table and stuff.
Vast quantities of pheromones. The bees will be attracted to me.
It's actually true. The pheromones can attract by bees for it, but do you need honey as well? I realize it actually stings if you attracted to honey around you.
King bee! After
Hey, not bad.
We all know we all prefer the normal Candace with her normal design, but emo Candace looks good right there with the pink, purple stripe in her hair. She's wearing black, silver clothes and stuff. She looks like an emo.
You have enough on wheat. I don't think your mom would approve.
Look how big in the inflatable water looks like with the big waterfall and all of that. Phineas and Ferb has made a lot of work of it.
They're gonna be so.
And Candace has gone in her depressive state.
No one understands me anyway.
To get our beekeeping patch now.
Figure a sorbet machine that turns.
The sorbet machine is mentioned again since Fly on the Wall, which was the previous video that I did in my breakdown,
Remember, the effect wears off after a couple of hours.
which we also going to see in B's story.
This is fascinating. Tell me more about bee dancing.
And this is the first time we see Balji and Ginger talking to each other. And we do see that Ginger was actually flirting with Balji in season 2, Isabella and the Temple Sap.
Gone or fall asleep by the time I get to this part of the sentence.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Balji and Ginger breakdown. Not as big as Phineas, Isabella, or Candace and Jeremy. We do see more breadcrumbs until we get to Aturi, but I'll talk about it more once we get to that episode.
Continue. Aww.
I was clueless to know what will happen, but it's actually Isabella turning the Fireside Girl and herself into bees.
Don't know me. Nobody does.
Went through a similar phase when I was your age.
I wish we got to see what Linda looks like in emo when she was young.
Fill the void in the power of sucks to be you.
And there goes Isabella and the Fireside Girls getting vacuumed by Doofenshmirtz.
Oops, I almost hit the self-destruct button.
Even if it's not powerful as the other Inator, it will always have a self-destruct button.
I put one on my coffee machine, on my TV, I put everywhere. Look, I can put one on my underwear. See? Look.
Look at that frame. It looks like he ate in like a vor or something.
All right, gang's all here.
Promise Isabella and the Fireside Girls that we wait for them.
Promise, Isabella.
Buford's mimicking Phineas, and that won't be the last time.
I'm Phineas. In my head, doesn't make any biological sense.
Listening to a mirror.
Really nailed you.
It's out to make sure they're up to our usual standard.
Just like in every Phineas and Ferb episode, the standards.
Get test the pools.
You guys are right. It's like listening to a mirror.
That's almost the identical line that Phineas said in Mantis Fat in season 5. It's like talking to a mirror. I really like how they go in different type of rides or all sort of stuff.
Over to get Vanessa's headphones.
Hello, Heinz.
There's Doofenshmirtz's ex-wife Charlene, who's making her first appearance in season 4. And that is actually her last speaking role, as that will be the last time Alice and Jenny will ever do the voice of Charlotte, unless she voices in the revival again, which will be good. But she does actually speak again in Tales of the Resistance, but that's only the second Dementia version.
Wait, are you more attractive? Really working because suddenly I can't remember why we broke up.
Hated Mr. Tomato.
Oh, Mr. Tomato.
You know, it wasn't me she didn't like.
So, Mr. Tomato is the reason why Charlie and Doofenshmirtz divorced. Now it makes more evident the contest in the Apocalypse Season 5, as Doofenshmirtz moved into the apartment, which led to the creation of Norm as he did, as Vanessa did visit Doofenshmirtz many times while playing with Norm, as we saw in the flashback. I recommend you look at my previous breakdown of the Season 5 finale.
Awesome.
And you know what the funniest part is? I actually caught that and I didn't even pause it, and I see front face Phineas.
Kid can wait. I sit here, not relating.
And that is the third time Candace wears glasses in the original run.
They're rolling, they try. I think it might be time for Plan B.
And Isabella and the Fireside Girls are out of the vacuum in B form thanks to Perry the Platypus. And there goes the rest of the bees, including Isabella and the Fireside Girls in form.
I sort of expected this. Perry the Platypus.
You could still say him say curse you. He said cluff you instead. I'm still going to count that.
I have no idea.
There's that soundtrack, Flight of the Bumblebee again, that was used earlier when Perry was in flying as a jetpack for being into Doofenshmirtz's headquarters.
The inevitability of my mundane existence. Once again, I'm humiliated.
If that was normal Candace, she would be going crazy like that. But she is still calm about it.
Up for some iced tea?
Oh, there you are, Perry.
We're late, Phineas. Our bee ceremony ran long.
Where's Kate, Addison, and Ginger? I'm surprised they're not in this ending scene, but we do get to see them doing the waggle dance in the next part.
No worries, Isabella.
Maybe that's a good you.
Well, you do the same thing in Mantis Fat. I'm Buford, and I like to eat butt, and that's a good impression.
Aw, it's just like old times.
Teen identity is actually the busting and crush-obsessed older sister type.
That means that will be the only time we see Candace as an emo, and never again.
But, whatever.
Alright, time to give the ratings. So the plot will start off with a 2. Plot A focuses around Phineas and Ferb building a waddling pool after the B-Day. And we all know that Isabella and the Fireside Girls were going to get the Bee Queen, as they do become Bee form in the next episode, as we're going to see it. I really like how Phineas and Ferb and the gang using the ride on the waddling pool, which is nice. And plot B focus on Candace becoming an emo, even though it's not much of it, but I really like how we see the emo side of Candace, as she's like, I don't care, whatever, and a failure. And plot C focus around Perry and Doofenshmirtz wants to control Beast to follow him so he could take over the tri-state area, as well as seeing Charlie again, which is a plus. Overall, the plot side is very good. Characterization will get a 5. Just like every episode, everyone is on point with the consistency, as well as Phineas and Ferb in the gang. I really like how Beaver mimics Phineas and Isabella in the end, which is nice. Also, Isabella, and we don't see them again until the next episode, as we're going to know what their part to play. Emo Candace, as well as Stacy, trying to give her a lot of things about how she can be an emo until the end, that she reveals to be an urgent busting sister back to normal till after the end. So it's nice to see emo Candace, as well as Doof and Perry, as well as Charlene, who we haven't seen that much, which will be her last speaking appearance in this dimension. She does speak again, but that will be in the second dimension. But overall, the characters is very consistent. Visuals, I'll give it a 4. It has a lot of good visuals, but not too stunning. Like the song of the B-Day opening is very good. Candace becoming the emo, the waddling pool, Perry using jetpack as a bee with the bees with Doofenshmirtz, and the sock puppet as well. Everything else is very good, but not too spectacular, but it's good. Importance, it's a 2. Importance is a 2 because it builds up to the next story. It's not as important as the other special episodes later on, but it's still needed. Entertainment is a 5 as it gets an 18 out of 25. The episode has some very solid moments, with the jokes being very good, the gimmicks are funny, the adventure was solid, Candace becoming emo. There's a lot of great things that's happening in this episode, and it's very enjoyable. Bernie Peterson and J.G. Oratena wrote an episode called B Story, premiered on April the 26th, 2013 on Disney Channel US. While Phineas and Ferb get the waddling pool for Linda ready, Isabel and the Fireside Girl attempt to get their beekeeping patch by turning themselves into bees and rescuing the entire bee swarm from the power vacuum that Doofenshmirtz captured them in. Meanwhile, Professor Pufferpots gets rejected by Love Muffin and tries to become Queen of the World by stealing and consuming massive amounts of royal jelly. This is the second time in Phineas and Ferb it mainly focuses around the Fireside Girls in season 2 of Isabel and the Tempest, and this episode too.
Favorite part of Bee Awareness Day?
Oh yeah, this takes place after the Bee Day festival with the Flint Fletchers and everyone being there.
Is the B flat with the F sharp bass at the end of the song?
Oh yeah, the kid mentioned in the last episode, and now Kate mentioned in this episode.
Let's focus on getting our beekeeping.
Hey, there's Pinky the Chihuahua. I wonder he's gonna play a part in this episode. Gretchen, why do you have to ruin it? Let me see the patch.
Thought will stay empty on all of our sashes forever.
Look at the patch she earned. The music patch, the hand patch, the mountain patch or something. And she did earn a Durr patch, which Candace mentioned in the Beak episode.
They're gone!
And we all know why. And this is because a certain man with the lab coat.
Potential catastrophe. Hey, where's Pinky?
Just like Phineas said, hey, where's Perry? Like crushed together. We see Perry and Pinky going in different directions again to their own lair, and that won't be the last time we see them in the same frame, because once we get to the episode, they will team up with each other.
Taken our new handbag conveyor system.
And there's Admiral Akram, haven't seen her for a while, and this is actually her last appearance in the original, and she hasn't appeared in this revival unless
Carla here.
Admiral Akram has an intern of her own, Carla, which we don't know if she related to Carl, but I'm gonna headcanon it is.
Doofenshmirtz is researching the use of royal jelly in the bee community.
And also, Carla is voiced by Jennifer Hale. You know her for doing many roles, including Fawn from Scooby-Doo.
Cast a spell on you. We should all be home resting for the concert game because Ben asked us to.
And she does a lot of characters like Female Shepherd from the video game Mass Effect, and also Black Knight in Generation Red.
Assure you, I am very real. This is all of this.
It's from an entire family of unpaid interns.
Could that be a coincidence? Pinky's using the bat as a jetpack to go into Professor Pufferpots' lair, while Perry used as a bee jetpack to go into Doofenshmirtz's lair.
The sun goes down.
Just like that lyric from Summer Belongs to You, before the sun goes down.
Good beekeeper tries to think like a bee. I'm thinking like a bee.
Well, Katie is thinking like a bee as she does the bow sound, which makes a lot of sense.
Stung by radioactive bee-themed superpowers.
I used to think, what she is talking about. Then I realized Spider-Man actually exists in this universe because he got bitten by a spider, and Phineas and Ferb and the gang actually met Spider-Man in Mission Marvel. So she has a point.
That's what's wrong with that plan. Have access to Phineas and Ferb.
And she knows what to do. When Isabella's stuck in this situation with the Fireside Girls or anything, she knows Phineas and Ferb can handle the situation with the inventions and stuff. And she knows Phineas and Ferb way too well. And she is very, very smart when it comes to the situation like this. The sorbet machine has been mentioned again in when Candace turned into a fly.
Have a sorbet machine that turns people into flies?
And we see Professor Pufferpots once again, which is her first appearance and her last appearance of the original role. We do actually see her in Candace Against the Universe, but that was a non-speaking cameo.
Acceptance letter into Love Muffin. Dear Esmeralda Poofenplot.
Dear Amara Pufferpot, we regret to you that your application for membership has been denied. Based on your past schemes, we have deemed that you're not even close to our standard for admission. Feel free to reapply after you come up with something really evil. At the very least, get yourself a decent lab coat. Sincerely, Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Of course it's Doofenshmirtz, why not?
To catch the attention of that silly boys club.
The Chihuahua!
I like the way she said, the Chihuahua! Let's hear it again.
The Chihuahua!
The makeup case doubles as a trap.
Pinky got trapped again by Professor Pufferpot. I don't know, I'm surprised that he didn't appear in Master of Fate with Perry as well. He also gets trapped too.
that turns people into flies into a sorbet machine after a couple of hours.
I have a feeling they didn't need to record that again because they've already put the scene just to save on budget for the animation.
Bees can communicate with each other through dancing? It's really interesting.
I like how Baljeet tells Ginger that Bees can actually does as he tries to riz her, but he does successfully once we get to that future episode. I really love how the sorbet machine actually morphs into a machine like that. That is so sick.
Girls, that should do it.
Ginger gets covered in that yellow bright aura as she gets to see she's covered as she transforms to a bee as she shrinks down to it. It's very neat, but not quite as good as the sorbet machine waffle, but it's still good.
Your noses!
Ash doggy. Okay, sit.
You think spraying him with water will be enough? He will find a way to get out Professor Pufferplot.
Can we slowly move closer and be crossed dissolved to my throat?
She is just breaking the fourth wall, just like the others.
A young grub being fed mass quantities of royal jelly.
Hey, there's that queen bee that Isabella and the Fireside Girls are gonna meet while she was vacuumed by Doofenshmirtz.
And I will grow 40 times bigger, live 40 times longer, and eventually be crowned queen of the world.
Is that Doofenshmirtz's plan? His plan is to become king of the bee, while Professor Puffer wants to become queen of the world. So it's different goals, but should Doofenshmirtz sue her for copyright?
People shall love me and despair. That's large abdomen for laying eggs, but I can live with that.
And I agree with Pinky with that expression of that. That is so weird. She had a giant robot head vehicle in the episode Isabel and the Temple Set, and she has her own copter with her head. I wonder if she has a submarine or other thing which is around her head.
They must have been attracted to that heavenly scent. Gigantic perfume sprayer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time Isabella saw Doofenshmirtz, but the first time they confront each other was in the movie Candace Against the Universe, which builds up to that. I'm surprised Isabella didn't mention it in the Jugendfest episode in season 5 of the revival where he captured all the bees. I'm gonna headcanon that Isabella had a hatred towards Doofenshmirtz because of that shit, which started off. We didn't see Isabella and the Fireside Girls getting sucked in Beast Day, but we do see it closely as it turns out to be true.
Any idea how to get out?
Jelly, I'm way too weak to fly.
I mean, there is the Bee Queen, and she has a British accent. I could presume it's the same voice actress who voiced Admiral Akram.
Stuck inside a pharmacist's power vac.
Well, you were encountering him again, Gretchen, in Jugendfest.
It's over until we decide it is. Can we help Candace get 50 patches in one day? Heck no! But it was only 49.
Until Eliza said something about breaking the world record, which got her into 50 patches.
And the going gets tough. The tough get going. Going patch, right? Yeah, so we can look for a way back out.
I really love how Isabella motivates the Fireside Girls to get out of this mess. She knows her stuff. I think it has to do with Phineas and Ferb's influence to make sure she never gives up.
Ginger, you girls have to advance nap time pat and make a sling for the queen.
I really love how the Fireside Girls are stuck as Isabella motivates them as they work with each other to find a solution. That shows you how great they are.
Why the vacuum and reverse the motor so that it blows us all out again? Talking about?
I really love how they give fist bumps to each other to find a solution.
All good to go. Recon team. Yes, ma'am.
So there's nicknames like Recon Team. Is there a Delta Team or Alpha Team in Fireside Girls nickname?
Great job, Addison. Thanks?
I really like how Isabella praising Addison, even though it was Perry the Platypus that got them out. I really love how you see Professor Pufferplot's helicopter overpass Doofenshmirtz even incorporated.
Oh, it's wearing off.
As they are morphed back to their normal self, you get to see some of the pieces are missing as they got their bodies back to normal. It is very hard to do, but I can't really fault them there.
We don't speak their language anymore. Baljeet is the answer. All about this dance they do to alert each other to a source of food or shelter.
He really is Baljeet's crush no matter what, even though I like Buford and Baljeet getting together. They both are very neat. Ginger is the only person that cares about Baljeet and listens, and overall it gets the job done once we get to the song.
No, it's a waggle dance. Did it, but bee communication is quite complicated.
The song is called Waggle Dance, sung by none other than Ginger, which she becomes the leader song for the first time, other than Isabella. It's nice to see other Fireside Girls get a chance to sing. The bee shaking his butt is actually pretty weird. Look at their face, they're smiling. Well, Ginger calculated very well. She really learns that from Baljeet. It makes sense for the song, but it's actually very uncomfortable for the girls to do it, which is like, oh. But I appreciate the song and the choreography. It is very, very fun to sing it. Isabella's barrette actually passes through her hair, which is an animation error. It is very uncomfortable to see them shaking their butts and that, but with the Wilder Dons, it actually works as they got bees into their hive. She does forgot to untie the thing as Pinky will find a way to get out. And there's Moist Beauty worse. I really like the designs of it. It looks very, very good, stylish.
A cheap designer knockoff trap from downtown.
Billy Chamber of the Moist Beauty Organic Cosmetics Factory.
I couldn't have asked for a better place to crash.
And that wasn't the last time you crashed into a place. In the Older Bad music part, you found Steph Beauty and it sprayed all over your body and face, and you failed.
Suppose my plan was predicated on a faulty hypothesis.
Curse you, Pinky the Chihuahua!
I like how Pinky takes Professor Pufferfoot's helicopter and using the swing to wrap around Professor Pufferfoot. Pinky the Chihuahua actually did more in this episode than Isabella and the Temple Sat, and that means something.
How humiliating.
Here's my patch. Yay, time to party.
I'm surprised this is Pinky's last scene in this episode, even though he never returned to Isabella. I would love Isabella to say, "Oh, there you are, Pinky."
It's just like old time.
This has been reused as well as the other scenes with Doofenshmirtz, except Beaver's lines is not in this. Mimicking Isabella's voice is not there.
Having iced tea. You want some, honey?
What did you say?
Having iced tea. You want some, honey?
He said it in a different tone. This has to be on purpose. This is just like in English class where you say, "Can we have dinner, Mom?" Like without the comma and with the comma with it. Back to the iced tea, you want some, honey? It actually is on purpose. I presume Phineas said that on purpose to get Isabella's attention, but overall, it comes to nothing. Every time I think about you want some tea, every time I think about Phineas saying iced tea, do you want some, honey? It reminds me of that fan art of Kiki Kit, who hasn't been active since 2024. I don't know what happened to her now. Made this fan art of adult Phineas and adult Isabella of that scene. It's actually been made by a fan art, not the real show, which every time I go back in this episode and Phineas said that line, I look back in this image and it's so sweet.
Sure.
I got a few things to say about the plot side of the story. The main part of the story of Isabella and the Fireside Girls becoming bees to rescue the queen bee as they're looking to get their bee patch for something to return them to the hive. And Doofus was the reason why they vacuumed away until Perry the Platypus reversed it, as they do the woggle dance to make sure that they go back into their hive so that they can get the patch. Plot being focused on Pinky and Professor Puffer plot again since season 2, as well as Beauty after Doofus declined her from Love Muffin because she wasn't wearing a lab coat and her evil plan is ridiculous or some ever. I really like Pinky and Professor Poof, but it's not the interesting part of this episode in my opinion. I do prefer the Fireside Girl plot more in this episode. Overall, it is done very well in both sides, and there are some fourth wall breaks, and some jokes are decent. Other than that, Beast Day actually gets the same ratings as Beast Story. I do prefer B-Day over Beast Story for a little more, but I really like this episode. I really like his focus on the Fireside Girls plot, Pinky's plot, and a lot of that intertwined with Doofenshmirtz's plot as well. Do I think it's the Fireside Girls' best episode? Not quite. Maybe I prefer Isabella the Temple Sat a bit more, but I think Lord of the Fireside Girls surpassed that any day as we saw it in season 5, which I already did a breakdown of. Now, let's look at our final thoughts. There's not much I can talk about in the final thoughts, to be honest. It's just that I'm talking about the breakdowns in every episode. I tried to find something that it could link, but not much else happens anywhere. Writer of Phineas and Ferb, Bernie Peterson, actually has screen grabs from some of the Phineas and Ferb storyboards that he did when he was at Disney. You will find a lot of storyboard sketches that you can recognize, which actually is pretty awesome. I'd put a link down below in the description. I did a poll 2 days ago, should Isabella appear in My Sweet Ride in season 4? While 13% said should, 60% said don't care, and 3% said no, not to appear in this episode at all. But 68% said yes for the Finabella arc, which would have been a fitting start for it in season 4, as there are plenty episodes revolved around them, which actually leads up to At Your Age. The episode was still fantastic, but imagine her in this episode with a Finabella breadcrumb in this episode. I would have taken it. B-Day and B-Story breakdown is now officially complete. The next breakdown will focus on Sidetrack and Primal Perry, while then also the next one will focus on Earth 6 episode, including one episode, Happy Birthday Isabella, and also we're gonna get up to Mission Marvel when Phineas and Ferb teamed up with the Avengers. I will try to put up a poll whenever I can after I upload it. Until then, hope you have a fantastic day. As always, see ya.